let's hear your top 5.
So let me tell you who's coming in at number 5 first.
Yes, come on, let's get some like drama. Go from 5 to number 1.
I've had to put this guy at number 5 because of his results, the way he fights. I've shared the ring with him over an hour and 12 minutes of punching holes in each other. 1 win, 1 loss. And I just think, you know, when he fought Joe Calzaghe, I know for a fact, and a good friend of mine, Darren Barker, can also back this up because he was on his camp sparring with him. And he had to listen to him screaming in training camp when he was on the pads because his hand was hurting that bad. Mikel Kessler, for me, deserves a number 5 spot of all-time super middleweights.
Number 4 then, go on.
Number 4 is Joe Calzaghe himself.
Not top 3. Joe Calzaghe at number 4.
So
okay, tell us
why.
He won the WBO belt. The WBO belt on an undercard of a Prince Nassim Hamid fight in Sheffield. Johnny, is that right?
Correct. Against Chris Eubank.
So he fought an old fading Chris Eubank who was weight drained. He won the WBO title and then he defended it for 10 years against, I don't even know. I can't remember the names of the guys he fought for 10 years. But he's unbeaten in 46 fights, Hall of Famer. You know, you can't argue with his record, but he defended and he had 10 years of mediocrity at defending that title. And his probably his best win was against an injured Kessler. Many say Jeff Lacey. Let's be honest, Jeff Lacey was a hype job. And then the Hopkins win pretty much said, right, Calzaghe's good, he can fight, he's beat Hopkins. And Hopkins went on to achieve quite a lot of things after that loss. But the Hopkins win was so close and so debatable. It was like a 50, I think it was more than a 50, I think it was a 55-45 split in Hopkins' favour on the night by all the top Americans. I think Dan Rafael had Hopkins winning that fight. Very, very close. And, you know, that's maybe one that he was lucky to get the win on that. And then he fought a totally shot to bits Roy Jones Jr., which is, he even said himself a couple of years before that in an interview that I read that beating Roy Jones Jr. proves nothing because he's so finished, he's so past his best. And then he went and fought him and beat him and now claims to have beaten the great legend. But yeah, Joe Calzaghe deserves to be at number 4 in my opinion. And he was a top super middleweight, top fighter, many good attributes, tough, strong, fit, real good work ethic, refused to quit. He kept going, but there's a couple of flaws in there for me. The Robin Reed fight was so close as well. I mean, he could have lost that Reed fight. Many had Reed winning that. That deserves to be an immediate rematch. Guess what? We never got the immediate rematch. It didn't happen. So that stains it for me. But he's at number 4. He's at number 4. One slot below the Cobra, who comes in at number 3. And the Cobra deserves his number 3 spot. He's got to deserve a number 3 spot. Anybody who wants to argue and debate me and tell me that I don't deserve to be at number 3, I'm all ears. I'm ready and waiting. And I'm not getting hard behind my computer screen. I don't fancy a fight because no one can throw any punches at me. But I'm open for debate. And I'm sure it will create a bit of debate, but that's my opinion, mate. I've got Kessler at 5. I've got Joe Calzaghe at 4. I've just written him off, probably undeservedly, to be honest. I'm at number 3. The Son of God. The Son of God is at number 2.
Andre Ward. Andre Ward, Son of God, at number 2.
He has to be at number 2, just because of his results. And I'm not going to talk about Andre Ward because I'll fall asleep. So I'm going to move straight on to number 1. And this guy is just fascinating. He's just amazing. He's supremo. He's the creme de la creme. Unbeatable, untouchable. Forget losing a fight. He never lost a round. He never lost any second of any round at super middleweight. Roy Jones Jr. What a fighter. He's number 1, as far as I'm concerned. And that, to me, you can't even argue. You love that top 5, don't you? You love it.
I absolutely love it. And what I love is that you spent probably a good 3 minutes absolutely demolishing the career of Joe Calzaghe, only to then speak about yourself for about 5 seconds.
I don't need to talk about myself. My career speaks for itself, doesn't it? I was in a lot of tough fights. I didn't win them all. And did I make hard work of my fights? Probably, because I got hit too much. But I love a scrap and I don't mind getting hit. I've got a chin that I've got confidence and belief in. And when you're not worried about getting knocked out, I think it can make you fight a little bit stupid. And I neglected a lot of my boxing skills. And people say, hang on a minute, what boxing skills? What boxing skills has Carl Froch got? He can't box. Well, let's not forget I won 2 ABAs and I won numerous gold medals in various multinational tournaments for England and I bronze in the World Championships as an amateur. Now, if you've got no boxing skills, you can't achieve that as an amateur as far as I'm concerned. But I did like a scrap. I still like a scrap. Johnny's got a certain look in his eye. If he fancies a little tear up, we'll have a little tear up. He's bigger than me. But I've seen him. He beat my brother up on my wedding, actually, the day before. I've got the video. I'll have to send it to Johnny. That little body spot he did.
Tell me wrong. We had a good give with that.
Yeah, that's good. But anyway,
Johnny,
that's my top 3.
Yeah, and thank you for doing it, and thank you for being so honest about why you placed people where you did. Johnny, do you want to discuss numbers 3 and 4 in that list? Carl Froch ahead of Joe Calzaghe.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate that. I get his argument. I get what he's saying. I get his argument. I see his point. But then you look on. You just have to get both fighters in a separate ring and see them working. Joe Calzaghe's work rate, his pace was mad. It was unpredictable. It was at times uncontrollable. That's why he had an unbeaten record. Carl Froch, on the other hand, was Iron Man. He'd walk through anything and everything. He had a chin like granite. I personally think the work rate of Joe would have been a little bit too much for Carl. Carl's my boy, but I think Joe's work rate would have been a little bit too much.
You know that work rate you're talking about? You know that work rate you're talking about? Joe Calzaghe's work rate, right? You know them fast hand slaps that he lands on the inside of his gloves because he has hand trouble as well.
Yeah,
he throws a lot of nothing. And they don't bother me. So yeah, that's what Joe Calzaghe could win on points. He could beat me on points, but the chances are he's probably going to get knocked out. I'm talking about prime Calzaghe against a prime Carl Froch. I just think I get to him because he gets hit on the chin.
I hear your argument. Errol Graham used to get accused of slapping all the time. But it's not the power of the shot, because I don't think he'd knock you out in a million years. Never.
But Errol Graham was a fantastic talent, probably one of the best fighters never won a world title, and he landed clean and accurate with power.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But
a lot of Calzaghe's work rate, was powerless and a lot of slaps.
Yeah, without a doubt, it was powerless. But what I'm saying is, not for 1 second do I think he'd ever knock you out in a million years. But I just think that would have been a tight fight, and he would have pipped at the post just because he was busier. That's it all the way through. And they were little pitter-patter shots. You can hit hard and throw 20 shots, or hit soft and throw 50 shots. And that's, if you say the loose shots would have been pit-pat, they would have got the judge's eyes. That's my call on that. But it's debatable, and I don't mind. I get your argument. I hear where you're coming from. And I think on the night I'd probably be stuck in the middle. But you're asking me straight, and that's how I'll drop it straight. Oh, damn it.
Well, we've got 9 minutes left. So, Johnny, have you done a top 3 or a top 5? Because Carl's done a top 5, but
I did a top 3. My top 3. I started with.
No. Go from three upwards.
Okay, from 3 upwards. I 3, 1, 2, 3. Where have I gone there? Yeah, I had Joe at 3, Ward at 2, and Roy Jones at number 1. Roy Jones, I don't think anybody could touch him or beat him. And even though people were ignoring James Toney beat my hero, as in Michael Nunn. Michael Nunn, I thought, was a proper badass. But James Toney was a bit. Sometimes he'd have a good day.
Roy Jones took James Toney apart in 1994, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So he's very temperamental, is the word. Temperamental. So if he didn't fancy it, he just didn't fancy it. But he was a nightmare for everybody and everybody. He still thinks he can fight now.
If you add all of the records up, the Toney fight and the super middleweight defences that Roy Jones had, the opposition record was 208 wins against 21 defeats and 7 draws. That is a phenomenal record as a body of work at super middleweight. Matt, your top 3 168-pounders?
Yeah,
you can change it if you want. You've got the Cobra sitting here.
No, it sounds
Matt, don't be intimidated by him. Don't be intimidated by him.
Listen, Carl's my mate, you know what I mean? A good mate. And listen, no one rates Carl Froch more than me. Proper man. Iron chin.
It's softening me up, isn't it?
But number 3, I've got Joe Calzaghe. Number 2, Andre Ward. And number 1, Roy Jones. And I just think that, again, I think that Calzaghe's speed, work rate, and I'm talking minute detail here because I think Carl would have given him absolutely all he wanted. And I think Carl would have beaten everyone that Joe beat, with maybe exceptions to Hopkins. I think Hopkins at light heavyweight might have been a bit too big and a bit too precise for Carl.
Oh, yeah,
I think he did beat Hopkins. I think he deserved it. And I actually think that Hopkins played on the low blow when Joe was really getting to him. So
that was just the old man tactics, wasn't it, though? Because he was getting old.
Yeah. But I think Joe was getting to him. He'd worn him out, and Hopkins, as crafty as he was, knew how to steal a rest. But that's my order. And just behind that, I got Carl
Same
Froch.
as mine, man.
Got Joe Calzaghe and myself, the fight that never happened, and probably 80% of people think Joe Calzaghe would beat me, which is fair enough. But it's one of them things, isn't it, where I'll always back myself, but you can never know. You'll never know if Joe Calzaghe would have beat me. Maybe he would have beat me, but maybe I'd have just chinned him. You just don't know.
Like I say, I think Carl had an iron chin. I think Joe Calzaghe had an iron chin. They were both super fit. I think there'd have been a split decision. I think it'd have gone absolutely to the wire. But, you lean to Calzaghe, he was undefeated, and he had that speed, and that speed's hard to beat.
Can I just say, when Carl, this is just softening up just because I just threw him in the bus. Can I just say that when Carl boxed Lucien Butte, almost everybody wrote him off for beating Lucien Butte. The one guy that put his head up there and said, no, Carl's got this, is Glenn McCrory. And Glenn McCrory called it spot on right. And when Glenn called it, I thought, you know what, I'm with you there, I hear that. Because Lucien Butte, if we're honest, most of the team that was sat with us thought, you know what, Carl's going to have it here. And Carl was on it. Carl was proper. Jumped on Butte and took him out amazingly and with so much pressure. So, yeah, a lot of us think he'd lose certain fights, but you know what, he'd always surprise us. But I think that one would have always gone down the line.
Do you know what I've got to say as well? I think, if you look at Carl's resume compared to Joe Calzaghe's, Carl's consecutively, one after the other, has a better resume, definitely without a doubt. And he had a lot of easy defenses, let's say, Joe. And the Lacey one, in time, you look, Lacey weren't what we thought he was. But the one that legitimizes Calzaghe for me is that win against Hopkins, dropped in the first round.
The one that 50% of people thought he lost.
Yeah, but I think if he hadn't played on the low blow, I think he was really getting to him.
Yeah, but Hopkins,
he got dropped, didn't he? He got dropped, and then it was.
It's close. You got dropped in the first round against Groves, but you got up. You came back.
I tell you what,
that's what great fighters do.
He's been dropped a lot of times though. That Cabaret Celine, that Egyptian geezer, dropped him. He gets rocked, he gets hurt. Robin Reed hit him with lots of shots, and he never went over. So you've got to give him his credit for his toughness. But he hits the deck, and the Cobra knows how to keep him on the deck.
Have you got? I wonder if we've got a young generation of fighters. Before I let you go, Carl, we'll sum up the picks in a minute. But the fact that we always have to debate, we don't have to, but the fact that we always have to debate a fantasy fight between you and a domestic rival, the young British or younger British fighters that are coming through now, would you implore them to fight their rivals so they don't have to deal with this, like the Buatsis and the Yards, the Furies, the Joshuas? Would you say have your domestic fight, because then you know that you're king of the hill? Yeah,
well, boxing's a business, and we're prize fighters, so it's we do it to get paid. Ultimately, we do it because we enjoy the sport, and the ones that enjoy it usually succeed better than the ones that don't enjoy it. Because if you enjoy your job, you'll be successful and all that. But I wouldn't always say just fight domestic rivals just to please the fans or just to please the people look on. I think Anthony Joshua has to fight Tyson Fury at some stage, but they're both world-class fighters. But usually you clean up the division in Britain before you move on to world level. But often you'll get two fighters that are really good, and then they'll go separate ways and then meet then at the top because it makes more financial sense. So I wouldn't urge anyone just to fight somebody in Britain because it's going to please the fans and make more sense. Because if the fight can build, let it build, and then you get them zeros in the bank account. And then when you've retired, you've had a hard living. You've been punched in the head for years. You've got to retire. So listen to your promoter, listen to your manager. Don't be pressured by the fans. But the top fights, ultimately, if the fighters want them to happen, they will happen. If AJ wants to fight Tyson Fury, then that fight will happen. If you don't want to fight Tyson Fury, they'll put the promotional divide, the television, or they'll put the split in as an obstacle. They'll say, look, 60-40 is in my favour, and I think that I'm the bigger draw. They'll start arguing over that, and the fight won't get made. And that's just down to the fighter. Because when I fought Calzaghe, Kessler. When I fought Kessler, all this talk of Calzaghe. When I fought Kessler, I just said straight away to Eddie Hearn, don't even insult the man. Don't even go in at 60-40. I know I'm Britain and I'm looking now to pay on pay-per-view and move forward. I've just beat Lucian Bute, et cetera, et cetera. I said, but that's a 50-50 fight. Don't insult him. And that's why the fight happened straight away. It didn't take much negotiating because it was one phone call to Sal and the fight got made. And in the Groves rematch, I was in the driving seat and I was a little bit annoyed by the first fight and the bad press I got for the stoppage and all the rubbish in the build-up. I didn't particularly like George Groves, so I dug my heels in and I made it financially better for me because of that. I was being spiteful. The fight was always going to happen, but you know, if the fighters want the fight to happen, that's what I'm getting at. The fight will happen regardless of other factors like promotional device, television companies, location. You know, the fight will happen, and hopefully we'll see the AJ Fury fight, and we'll also see Dylan White get his shot as well.
Brilliant. Well, we're running out of time, so I just want to say, Carl, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks to Johnny, to Matt. Remember, we'll put the poll up. Roy Jones
thanks,
Jr.
Johnny. Thanks, Matt. Yeah.
Matt threw me under the bus when it was my God. Don't worry, he voted against me as well, so I think it's me against Matt.
Hey, listen, I think it's a great top three. I think it's a really good top three. Roy Jones, Andre Ward, Joe Calzaghe. That's a good top three. And I think the Calzaghe one is debatable with myself, but it's everybody's opinion. You can't get upset by someone's opinion. I know I'm right. I know you're wrong.
What a great way to finish it.